stop sharing or
Yes, you may stop sharing now.
Okay, okay. How to stop it? They are not much used to in WebEx. So where to stop the sharing here, I think. Yes, yes, I did it. Okay.
Komal?
नितिन स्टार्ट करें आप.
Sir, we are directly proceeding for the webinar. Video can't be played, sir. It is not available right now, sir.
Hello, Komal?
It's already more than 4 minutes. We have to start.
Okay, let's begin with the session. There's some issue with the video, so we can begin with the session now. So, namaskar everyone, and a very good evening and a very warm welcome to all in today's session on human history vis-a-vis origin of yoga. It is a pleasure to have Dr. Gagi Chatterjee, Assistant Professor in the Department of AHC and Archaeology in the University of Allahabad, Prayagraj, as the speaker of today's session. We welcome you, ma'am, and thank you for graciously accepting our invite. I welcome Dr. Ishwari Basavareddy, sir, Director, Moraji Desai National Institute of Yoga. We are deeply grateful, sir, for providing us with constant encouragement and valuable directions throughout this endeavor. Your unwavering support and invaluable insights have been a great source of strength for us. I also welcome Mohammad Tayyab Alam, sir, Communication and Documentation Officer, Moraji Desai National Institute of Yoga. Sir's consistent presence and valuable inputs have contributed significantly in this endeavor. We are very grateful, sir. So we will begin the session as per the tradition of the Institute with prayers. Astu ma sadgamaya tamso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I again welcome the speaker of the day, Dr. Gargi Chatterjee. We deeply appreciate your gracious presence and willingness to share your valuable insights and experiences. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to extend a special welcome and heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Ishwari Basavareddy, sir, Director, Moraji Desai National Institute of Yoga, who has been an instrumental support in organizing this lecture series. We are privileged and delighted to have you, sir. Sir's exceptional leadership skills have made him the director of the institute since 2005, and his dedication and passion towards yoga led to Sir's appointment as the head of Yoga Certification Board, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, and project director of WHO Collaborating Center for Traditional Medicine Yoga. Sir's contributions to the development of yoga and naturopathy are invaluable, and Sir has more than 3 decades of experience in teaching, education, training therapy, and research. Sir has presented MDNOI in the Government of India in numerous countries, including South Africa, Russia, China, Italy, and more. Sir's unique blend of humility and groundedness, analytical thinking, and strategic planning has been instrumental in policy decision making for promoting yoga. The list of Sir's achievement goes on. However, as Sir is very mindful of time and values punctuality and strives to make the most of time we have, so without taking any longer, I now respectfully request Muhammad Tayyab Alam Sir, Communication and Documentation Officer, Moraji Desai, National Institute of India, Yoga, whose continuous and steadfast assistance has been helping us in this webinar series to introduce the speaker. Please, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Suman. Good evening, everyone. Respected Dr. Gargi Chatterjee, ma'am, is an assistant professor in the Department of ASC and Archaeology, University of Allahabad, Prayagraj. Ma'am has completed her PhD from BHU, Banaras Hindu University, and subsequently done 2 post-doctorate. My PhD thesis was awarded as the best thesis in Stone Age archaeology worldwide by the Scientific Commissions of International Union of Prehistoric and Prohistoric Sciences at Paris 2018. Ma'am is a member of the editorial committee of Heritage Journal of Multidisciplinary Studies in Archaeology, UGC listed and a peer review journal, and Journal of Archaeological Studies in India. Gargi ma'am has a self-authored reference book entitled Asylum Adaptation in India in Open Air Milu to her credit, and she has also authored numerous research articles in reputed journal and edited books, and has presented papers in countless conferences. The deliberation of today's topic, human history, vis-a-vis origin of yoga, will definitely enrich the knowledge of our audience. Thank you, ma'am, for accepting our invitation on a very short notice for the Friday webinar. ये डॉक्टर ईश्वरवी बसवरेड्डी डायरेक्टर मुरारजी देसाई नेशनल ऑफ इंस्टीट्यूट एंड टीम का ही ऑप्टिमिस्टिक एंड सिंसियर डेडिकेशन का नतीजा है कि आज हम लोग फ्राइडे वेबिनार के 133rd एपिसोड में हैं. These webinars are blessed with the eminent and renowned experts of diverse field like yoga, modern medicine, diet, allied science, and so many others. With these few words, I would like to invite respected Dr. Iswarvi Basavareddy sir, Director Murarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, Ministry of Ayush, to say a few words on today's topic, human history and origin of yoga. Sir.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. My pranams to you all. Today's respected speaker, Dr. Gargi, my colleagues in the institute, Dr. Taya Balamji, Dr. Suman, faculty members, students, friends, and all our yoga enthusiasts who are joining this webinar through various social media platforms across the globe. My pranams to you all. I also welcome you all heartily for this very important webinar on a very special day. Today is a day to remember one of our greatest personalities of our independent India or pre-independent India, both. Many people remember Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar ji for his constitutional contribution for the establishing the Constitution of India. But most of us don't know is one of the eminent educationists and have a firm belief in our various systems of traditional systems of living and fight for equanimity in the society. is the symbol of how a person can overcome the many complexes, the caste, cadre, and many other things, the financial aspects, how we can uh, grow up to the maximum extent in the life. And he's the role model for millions of youngsters. Today, with a great respect, I and my institute remember this father of our uh, Indian Constitution and for his rich contribution for the humanitarian values and education and establishing the democracy in India, and also for becoming an inspiration for the youngsters to grow to the maximum by overcoming various hurdles in the way with our efforts and willpower. Uh, Today also I remember next on 18th we are going to celebrate World Heritage Day. That's why we invited Dr. Gargi, so who's an archaeologist. Dr. Gargi had a very rich association with our ancient Indian history department, archaeology department in Karnataka University. The great archaeologists and historians like Professor Shettar, Dr. Sundar, Dr. Kamath were all renowned national figures. I have a privilege to work with him. They were my deans and heads in the capacity of deans of the social science faculty. That's why I had a privilege for knowing whenever I work and try to understand, take the opportunity to learn from the people expertised. Now, third, we come to the today's topic. So whenever we use this platform, we talk about only the history of yoga. But the history of India, especially the ancient India, if you go back to the Stone Age or all these things, more than 10,000 years, but up to 5,000 years, starting from the pre-Vedic period. If you come up, today is the present scenario, up to Sri Narendra Modi ji, the Honorable Prime Minister, and the depth and dimensions of the vast geographical area. Now, the present Afghanistan, and even it went up to the Persian countries, all the Myanmar, Thailand, Sri Lanka, and some part of the eastern side. They're all part of this great Bharat or Hindustan, earlier called it. So if you see the entire history, it's a very, very interesting and complex. That's why the whole history has shown you how the spirituality in this land has emerged as a part of our life. That's why Dr. Radhakrishnan, the great philosopher, mentioned in his book, The Indian Philosophy, that the the soul, the soil, the water, the air. So here in this continent, Indian continent, is made for to live a spiritual living. God has given everything because for spiritual living is an environment is very much essential. So that Mother Nature has given everything to live a very spiritual living. That is the greatest thing. That's why yoga has been emerged as part of our history and culture from the ancient time. We are talking about only the Indus Valley civilization. So as a interesting student, You can see the other civilizations in those times, Indus Valley civilizations. Simultaneously, there are other five important civilizations. So there, the living, and we are talking about the existence of yoga practice. The Harappa Mohenjo-daro archaeological survey mention it. It's a small thing, but if you understand the ruler and administrators, that's called mantris or rajas, and mantris are purohits. So there, even you can go up to the Gupta period. Chanakya was not the king, but he's the main influencer to the Chandragupta. So like this, you can study all these things, and that's the great thing how our Indian mind uh, established in living the yogic living. So from those days in the Vedic period, Upanishadic period, and various and Sutra period, then Mahavira, Gautama, Patanjali, Kapila. Then later on, we can see the emergence of Tantra. Like this, in next it comes to the Acharya Triyas, Vedanta comes into. So then Hatha Yoga, then in the medial period, there is a Dasa Parampara, Bhakti Pantha. So then modern age, you can see the many eminent yogis has contributed for the promotion and development of yogic values in our life. In the present days, and it's the era of science and technologies. So from the ancient traditional wisdom, we have entered into the science and technologies, especially the digital media platforms. There also we are converting that knowledge into digital media platforms. So earlier it was in only to mouth, eyes to eyes, I can say. Earlier there was no language even. So that's why it's only the signal, signs and signals. So then the language come, then it is in the Tade Gari. They used to write in the leaves on the, all these things on the leaves. Then all these things you have to see. It's a very interesting. Why I'm telling all these things is by studying the history, the archaeological dimensions, we can understand ourselves better. Our heritage, our ancient wisdom will motivate us to understand ourselves and our system so that I can uh, contribute much, and also I can understand the whole system of yoga. So today's lecture will definitely throw on these three dimensions: the contribution of a great educationist and a great ancient Indian history to the modern times, and how yoga has become an integral part of our living from the ancient time to this. I do hope that Dr. Gargi, a young archaeologist, very interesting, and has agreed to our invitation and deliver this one. And definitely, it's myself also. I will sit and listen to you because I'm interested to know many other new things which I can learn with these few words. And I thank Gargi for joining us, and also the coordinator of this program, Dr. Suman. Always she's very enthusiastic in taking up any initiative. And always my media team, Taipsi, Komal, Nitin, and all the team members are always, though it is holiday or any days, but the team is always there to make it a success. And later on, through our social medias, uh, afterwards also people used to watch and listen to this very famous Friday webinar series, which has been crossed more than 100 episodes. So thank you very much, Dr. Gargi and others. Now I invite Dr. Gargi to deliver a lecture. Dr. Gargi.
Uh, Thank you so much, sir, for such introduction regarding the topic and a brief introduction regarding the subject as well. And I'm very thankful to all of you for inviting me for this lecture and giving me this opportunity. I'm especially thankful to Dr. Ishwar V. Vasavaraddi sir and also Mohammad Tayyab Alam sir for giving me this opportunity. And uh, first of all, I wish to say that I am not an expert of yoga. I have very limited knowledge regarding this field. Although I perform some for physical fitness, but not at all an expert, and very limited knowledge I have regarding this field. But what I am trying to do before I'm proceed, I should share the screen first. Is the screen visible? Suman, can you confirm it?
Yes, the screen is visible, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So before I proceed to my topic, I wish to say that I just try to understand the background of yoga through different stages of human history, which will start from the origin of human itself. And basically, I will try to put together the physical, mental, and intellectual elements of human past, human history, uh, which possibly responsible for the firm making the firm foundation of yoga, which we can see in the present day. The entire talk is just a hypothesis of mine, which is based on basically the archaeological data, and some of literary source also has been included. But mostly it is based on the archaeological data of uh, from very beginning of human history. So, as we all can see from the forward slide of mine, that the topic of the talk is human history vis-a-vis origin of yoga. Um, it means that I'm going to talk about in the basis of human history, that how yoga is related to the different stages of human history. So, I will start my topic with a question that why only human can perform yoga when we see the entire animal kingdom. Of course, other animals can do some postures of their own, but human can do their own postures as well as different other postures related to their work. And also some, you people are all in yoga, so you you must know that human can make several postures and in a meditative form. So why is that? So somehow I think the answer of this why is hidden in the history of human existence, where humans started to be existed, and that will start with the human evolution. So before we start talking about uh, the human evolution, I wish to share with you that which human stages I am going to cover. I will start with, wait, I should open my pointer. I will start with human origin, which is around 15 million year happened around 15 million year ago. MYA stands for million year ago. And then I will cover the Stone Age, which is the human origin continued up to Stone Age. Culturally, it is, we all know the Stone Age as Mesolithic and Neolithic phases. And the if we concern about the date range, it is the 1.5 million year ago to near about 5,000 to 4,000 years ago. Now, next phase is the Copper and Bronze Age. Copper, then in this phase, the first people started using copper, and also they have tried to make alloy out of it by using tin and by alloy copper with tin and making bronze. In Indian context, I will move to Indian context when I will talking about Copper and Bronze Age. So when we are talking about Copper and Bronze Age of India, then two specific cultures came in our mind. One is Chalcolithic, and another is Indus Valley Civilization. We all know about Indus Valley Civilization because it stands for the first urbanization of the history of India. If we include Chalcolithic as well as Indus Valley Civilization both together, then the date range of these two phases includes 4000 BCE to 1500 BCE. Then, after Copper and Bronze Age, the Iron Age prevailed. And when the Iron Age prevailed, people started using iron, and that is a long phase because in the beginning the iron was in form of wrought iron, and gradually they started carbonizing it and tried to make a stronger form of iron. So this is a long phase dated between 1500 BCE to 700 600 BCE. And this Iron Age, if culturally we can interpret it, then the age is correlated with the age of Veda and also the age of epics and the age of second urbanization, which stands by the beginning of states. And lastly, I will move towards the historic period, which is Maurya and Shunga period. Only I will talk about Maurya and Shunga period, which is around 320 to 75 or 73 BCE. And I will end my talk up to Shunga period when it is assumed that the Patanjali, Maharishi Patanjali belonged to this phase, and he wrote Yoga Sutra, and he painted the entire yoga in a systematic and methodical way in that particular literature. So I will ended up it here, because after that we all know, you people all know that you are expert of yoga, and you all know that what happened to yoga after that, the development of yoga. I am just going to talk about the background of it. So which things, which elements are important, could be important according to my hypothesis, important as a background of yoga. So before proceed to talk about the era of human origin, we must say that how the prehistoric study began. The Stone Age, human origin, and the Stone Age is a part of the prehistoric period. And in up to the 18th century, yes, up to the 18th century, the scholars believe there is nothing before historical age. They believe that when the written record came in front, only after that the human history started. There were no human activity or pre-human activity before that. They never believed in prehistoric age. But when in 1830, from a river valley which is called Somme River Valley, which is situated in France, this person, Bouchard de Perthes, have found some stone pieces, broken stone pieces, which didn't seem like naturally broken pieces, but it seems like it was broken, it was man-made. So, firstly, this discovery pointed out to a phase that is prior to history, or some prior to history human activities. And secondly, in 1856, in the Neanderthal Valley, Germany, the first skull cap of a early man discovered. And this strengthened the view that prior to history, some human activities were there, because we have the evidence of stone tools and also the skull cap, which is not of a ape or nor of a not of a ape, and also not of a modern man. So it must be it belong to, must be a species which is just in a between to ape or a modern man. So this view, these two evidences, the two events are very important to establish the prehistoric era. The next thing happened is the Darwin's theory. Charles Darwin's important theory, the theory of evolution. He propounded this theory in his book, The Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection. In that book, he said that the ancestor of modern man and the modern ape was the same. And he also said that the man got his present form through a long way of evolution. And this theory was like, when he first propounded this theory, it was criticized by the contemporary scholars. But because some we already have seen in the previous slide that some strong evidences there. So many of the scholars also supported his view. Even the Hugotov says the theory of mutation, which talks about certain changes in genome, in human genome. So this theory of mutation also supports the theory of evolution. And on the basis of both of this theory, and if we just focus on the physical feature of human, then we can put human being, which you can see here, human being under the category, subcategory of the group primate. There are two subcategories of primate. One is Hominidae and another one is Pongidae. The Hominidae family evolved to the form of human, which we are, and the Pongidae group evolved to the modern ape. So in this way, when we talked about Darwin's theory, where he said that the ancestor of modern man and modern ape was the same, that same ancestor was the primate. From primate, these two branches evolved, and in that way, apes or other chimpanzee or monkey, the group of monkeys, they are the nearest cousins of us. We have the same ancestor. So basically, through the previous slides, I just gave some brief foundation from background of human evolution. Now the question is, why human like encounter or experience such elaborate evolution, physical and mental evolution? So there are some important unique features of his body and mind which helps him getting such kind of evolution. So firstly, if we focus on its structure of pelvis bone, its spinal cord, its limb joints, then we can see that why people can, a man or human can make different kind of postures. This uh, skeletal structure helped him to make different kind of posture they needed. Even in yoga also, we know that different postures are involved in it. And now, if we are talking about mental ability, then we can see that the cranial capacity is measured by, wait a minute, cranial capacity is measured by this portion, the size of this cranium. So this is way too much high than the other animal. If we can see in a human, in the case of human, we can see that the cranial capacity of human mind is much more, and that is where they can focus on something, they can concentrate on something, or these things also involved in yoga. And apart from that, when we see when we see the human eyes can focus on something, uh, concentrate on something, and can also identify several colors. And in that way, human eyes are very different from animal eyes. So this is also a very unique feature of human body. And apart from that, if we focus on its uh, hands, its fingers. So its fingers and the thumb, they are capable of gripping anything properly, which is important for making stone tools onwards. We have several technological, as sir also mentioned, we are in a like digital age right now. This is also a technological age. Technological ages started with Stone Age. That time it was a Stone Technica age, and then copper, bronze age, iron age. In that way, we are now in digital age. So if they can't grip something properly, the stone age never started. They can't make stone tools. So not only that, even in yoga also you use so many mudras. So mudras could not be properly done without the proper postures, proper movements of fingers. So the finger formations are also important in point of view of that. Now, the major species I am going to talk about through this lecture, through the first segment of this lecture, are the Dryopithecus, Australopithecus, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalensis, and Homo sapiens. There are thousands and millions of species in the human history, human evolution. But we are going to talk about only the 6 species because these are the key species of human evolution. Okay, why I can't move? Yes. These are the physical structure you can see from Diapithecus to Homo sapiens, the physical structure, the facial features how they change, and the cranial capacity, which I have discussed earlier. You can see the cranium, the cranial capacity was lesser in the previous phase, and gradually it is now bigger. And now in the modern man, you can see in this way. So started with Dryopithecus. It is a 15-14 million year ago species. Miocene Pleistocene is a geological term, and it's remain found from in Indian subcontinent from Shivalik range, and they are called locally as Hanuman or Shugriv Pithecus and Rama or Shiva Pithecus. And its remains also found from Africa, the Kenya province, and it is called Kenya Pithecus after that. And only the remains of jaw and tooth fragments have been found of this species. And on the basis of the tooth and jaw fragment, the entire facial feature as well as the bodily structure has been reconstructed by the scholars, by the archaeologists and the paleontologists. And as you can see from the pictures also, this species can't balance its body in its legs because it is more like ape, not less like a human. And but one important thing of it is its dentition, means the formation of the teeth. Its formation of the teeth is little different than the ape. That is why it's become a first species of that family which I have discussed earlier, that the family called Hominidae family, which finally eventually we'll see will evolve to the modern man. Now, then in the case of Diapithecus, its milestone is that their dentition, their food habits, on the basis of the dentition or the formation of the teeth, it can be said that their food habit also little bit changed from the ape. So it is the first member of the Hominidae family. It is the milestone of this species. Then when we talk about Australopithecus, the evidence of Australopithecus only found from different parts of Africa, not other parts of the world, only Africa. And it is dated between 3.2 to 1.4 million year ago. And the main thing of this species is that this species tried to walk upright, means they could not, they were not that much straight like a modern man, but they tried to be straight, they tried to walk upright, they move from tree branches to the ground. So that is why on the basis of their physical formation, it is said that these species were both tree and ground dweller. Their cranial capacity, the brain size, was also bigger than the previous one. Okay, so on the basis of these features, the milestone of this species was its attempt to walk upright and its attempt to move towards the ground. So these things are, you can keep relating these things with yoga as well. You can say that how these things are related to yoga. These things are related to the physical development and physical and mental development of human species, and those physical and mental development were related to yoga. So now the next species is Homo habilis. Homo habilis, the first discovery was done by LSB Leakey from a site of Africa, which is called Olduvai Gorge, and some other sites also named or mentioned here, which is not so important to mention. But from this site, you can see in the previous site it was Australopithecus. In this slide, you can see the mention of Homo here. So the first Homo genus introduced from this species, that is why this species is considered as the first true human. First true human, because the Homo genus was there. Second of all, when you can see its hand, you can see that it can hold something in its hand. And why they can do that? Because they had a proper thumb formation, better than the previously mentioned ape-like man. So The better thumb formation helps them to grab something. So on the basis of that, we can say even we have evidence of stone tools made on pebbles. The evidence of stone tools made on pebbles associated with this species from the site Olduvai Gorge. From the so this is a very milestone thing because this species considered as the first tool maker. Obviously those tools are not much advanced tool, that is basic pebble tools. They just grab a pebble and just make blow with a stone hammer and remove some flakes and make a just a very simpler form of tool. But milestone is that they started making tools right now. So this involves the formation of their fingers, the thumb, which I have mentioned earlier regarding when I was talking about mudras we are making these days, because under the yoga, different postures of yoga. So we can relate that thing with it, that they started using their thumb and fingers properly during this phase. The Homo habilis was the species who tried to do that. And next species is Homo erectus. And the evidence of first Homo erectus we found from the Southeast Asia, that is Java, by Eugene Dubois. And the basic feature, and this species is belong to 1.8 to 0.5 million year ago. And the characteristic, the main characteristic feature of this species is that this species can stand or walk in a very erect position like modern man. And their brain size also very larger. Now their arm size become smaller, shorter, and their leg size become longer. Why? Because now they are using their legs more than their arms. So they are proper ground dweller, and also like a proper tool maker. Why they are called the proper or skilled tool maker? The Homo habilis were also tool maker, but they just started making the tools. But the Homo erectus were making very complex type of tools, very finished type of tools. You will see. So that is why they are called skilled tool maker, and that could be happen because of their advanced physical and mental feature. And this point is also important. They were ultimate hunter up to the previous side, when we are talking about from Diapithecus to Homo habilis, Diapithecus, Australopithecus, and Homo habilis, three of these cases, you can see that those species were in a survival mode. They just tried to survive themselves in the adverse condition of the environment. But from this species onwards, gradually we can see the tendency of controlling over the environment. That is why they have started doing hunting also in a large scale. So that is why they are called the ultimate hunter. And also they have started using fire. Several other elements they were started using. Like from China, we have evidence of using fire from Chokoti on the side, first fire using site. Also, they started using started staying in a group, because they started knowing that if they will stay in a group, then they can survive from other things, other dangerous animals or something, carnivores from the environment. And also they can control over the environment, they can hunt properly. So this thing on the basis of the jaw and the formation of the jaw, it is said by the scholars, it is believed by the scholars, that the Homo erectus was the species probably using the language for the first time. So this is all of these are the main milestone achieved by the Homo erectus. uh, if you notice that the species I was talking about, they belong to different parts of those species. The evidence of those species were found from different parts of the world, but not from India. Unfortunately, because in Indian subcontinent we have such environmental condition, and the soil of ours is not the nature of the soil, because of the nature of the soil, the fossil remains were perished. Most of them were perished. But one evidence we have from the Narmada Valley, the site called Hathnora, and the species we have is the Homo erectus. Its feature is very near to Homo erectus, which we have just discussed about, and they called it the Homo erectus narmadensis because it is found from Narmada Valley, and this skull cap has been found from this site. So, Indian contextually, this is important evidence. Now, the Homo neanderthalensis, we all know that Neanderthal was a very important species in human history because it has a very large brain size. And apart from that, it is considered that this species is the culture maker because they started, apart from making tools, hunting, and other gathering, they were started making arts and different burial practices. So, intellectual, now you can see the people were intellectually developing the cranial capacity, where you in australopithecus you have seen the cranial capacity is in the brain size is in between 500 to 700 cubic centimeter. Here you can see it is much more than that, but unfortunately this it is considered that this species lived for a shorter period and extinct. Now no, so many theories are there that many hybrid species of Neanderthalensis were there after the Neanderthal extincted, but not well established yet. Next is Homo sapiens, which is the modern man. Uh, is every feature was like modern man. They can properly use making hearts. They can practice barriers. They were using very finished, very fine type of tools, and they are communicating with each other properly. They have a big cranial capacity also. And from this phase onwards, we have the race word itself is a negative word, but still I need to mention that even in today's world we can see different kind of color and facial physical features across the world, and that kind of features were started developing during from the species Homo sapiens. The negroid, caucasoid, mongoloid features has been introduced from this phase in the form of the Grimaldi man, Cro-Magnon man, Predmos man, Chancelet man, etc. So from through these slides, through these six slides, previous slides, we can see the entire human evolution in a brief way, and we can uh, realize that how gradually the physical and the mental feature of human developed through time, and it was not developing जैसे कि अपने आप develop नहीं हो रहे थे. It was developing by the trial and error, by the attempting of so many things by them. So this is important for human history, for intellectual development of human, and which we can see its advanced form we can see in a different way today. And one of them is of course yoga. So now this picture denotes, I was talking about the stone tool making thing, but I didn't say that how those stone tools were made. So in this picture you can see that the stone tools were made by those people which I have discussed already, through different kind of posture making. Through these postures they can prepare a proper a particular stone tool. So in this picture you can see that it involves different kind of yogic postures also, not properly, but sitting position, the bending standing position, the uplift leg position. You can see different mode, and this is a physical. You can say that physical feature, physical posture making practice. Firstly, we can see in the human history, and also one thing more. To make these tools, they not only just need to do this posture, they also need the mental capacity, the mental concentration to make it. So physical and mental harmony, the coordination of physical and mental state is needed for that this thing also. These are the stone tools, finest stone tools you can see made by those primitive men. Even when people did hunting during Stone Age, they need proper physical fitness and mental ability and coordination of human of mind and body. Even in this picture, you can see that the big mammoth was trapped and was hunted by a group of people. Different type of strategies was reported from across the world to hunt a big animal, a large animal. For example, from there were two twin sites called Toralba and Ambrona. These two sites situated in Spain, and among these two sites, one was used for trapping mammoth. They were just chasing the mammoth, and they trapped it in a like mud area, You can see it here. And then in together they were hunting it. Then they practiced butchery, and then they brought that flesh to the second site, which is the habitation site, and they consume the flesh there. So this entire process needs some mental ability, thinking process, and excellence IQ level. So that we can see from this phase as well. Now moving to we completed the Stone Age. Now when we moving towards the, here you can see Neolithic and then Iron Age. In between, when we moving towards Copper Age, Copper Bronze Age, I have discussed earlier. So in Indian context, we have Chalcolithic and Harappan Indus Valley civilization. During this phase, apart from the using of copper and the alloy, we have evidence of several different types of potteries. And those potteries, those finished beautiful potteries, also showing uh, here you can see an anthropological model. Uh, it also need a proper physical and mental coordination. I repeat this term several times through my slides. I will repeat it because it is all about mind and the body coordination, mind and body harmony. So in a particular posture it needs, and particular mind thought process was needed, and then one can make such kind of advanced potteries during that phase. Even today we can, हमको लग सकता है कि that what is the big deal making potteries. Today we are in a very advanced stage. In that point of view, potteries could be shown like it's a very easy task. But for them, it was not easy because they were like discovering those things. They were not discovering. मतलब एक तरीके से वो सृष्टि क्रिएट, they were creating those things. ठीक है, so that is why it is not, it involves their concentration, full focus, intellectual level, mind, body postures also. So this is also important part of human history. They were making such kind of potteries. You can see here. Sometimes we also have here we can't see them, but some many of the potteries also having different types of paintings, designs over them, which shows creativity, which is an addition of addition. अभी तक आपने creativity नहीं देखा. It is an addition of it, and which shows a high level of intellectuality. So, as I am talking about copper age, so it is a ingot, copper ingot. We found such kind of ingot from different chalcolithic sites. So from copper, they made different kind of objects, as well as they alloy it, as I have already mentioned. Now, when we reach to the Indus Valley civilization, we have evidence of terracotta figurines, the stone sculptures, the seal, dancing girl. We all know about that. From this phase, for the very first time, we have evidence, direct evidence of yogic postures. We can see in this terracotta figurines also yogic posture. Also in this Pashupati seal, we can see a particular posture. Apart from that, from this facial expression of priest king from Mohenjo-daro, and also the facial expression of the Pashupati here in the seal, we can see the evidence of meditation as well. So two of the major aspects, that is, one is physical posture and posture making, and the meditation. Both of this we can see from this phase. And as sir mentioned that the tantrism or tantra thing we can see from the later phase. Matri Devi worshipping we can see during Indus Valley civilization as well. So maybe some kind of tantra or Matri Devi worshipping thing was there in Indus Valley civilization phase as well. Now I want to have your attention towards the recent discovery of Sinoli. Here you can see this is a site in Western UP, and here you can see the evidence of chariot, shield, and sword have been found from this site, which shows that these people having experience of chariot racing, also warfare, because we have evidence of burials as well. So you can say that warfare and war and yoga is the ideology of both of these just opposite to each other. Of course, ideologically it is opposite, but if you if you like, if you focus on the word thing, then you can see that it also needs a proper physical fitness, mental concentration and focus. Because even अगर आप उधर रामायण महाभारत में भी देखोगे, those योद्धा, they were practicing yoga, they were practicing physical fitness things. So this approach also important for the history of human history and also the origin of yoga. क्योंकि जो इसमें जो war हो रहे थे या people were engaging in chariot racing and all, they need such kind of practice in background. So we can relate it also with the origin of yoga. Now, we all know this basic the definition of yoga, which says that yoga is essentially a spiritual discipline based on an extremely subtle science, which focuses on bringing harmony between mind and body. I especially want to grab your attention to the last line of this definition, which focuses on bringing harmony between mind and body. Through the previous slides, you can see how the harmony between mind and body gradually developed from time to time, and which broaden the path towards the yoga. Now moving forward to the next stage, which is now we can say it is the Iron Age, the age of Veda, culturally age of Veda, later Vedic age, or the epic age, or you can say the phase of second urbanization. So when we are talking about Rig Veda, even Rig Veda, we have the concept of staying at Guru, the place of Guru, and practicing different mental and physical exercises, discipline. So these things are like archery, chariot racing, different kind of physical practices were also there. In disciplines also they were teaching. So these things also we can also relate with the origin or the starting of yoga. Now, if we are talking about later Vedic period, we can focus on Upanishad. In the Upanishad, for the first time, we can see the initiation of philosophy. Up to the previous period, we can see the physical and mental practices, different practices, and the harmony and the coordination. The actions involve the coordination of mind and body. But yoga, an important factor of yoga, also a philosophy of mind. So the philosophy thing was introduced during Upanishad, where they started searching about the existence of own self, where from where I came, and who am I, and where I am going. Such things were tried to be analyzed during Upanishad era. Now, this is an archaic image of Hastinapur excavation. When we are talking about Hastinapur, mind में तुरंत आ जाता है कि ये आपके महाभारत. So B.B. Lal was a famous archaeologist who excavated several sites related to Mahabharat and Ramayana. As example of Mahabharat like Hastinapur or Kaushambi. In the case of Ramayana, he excavated the sites Ayodhya, Sringverpur, etc. So from the evidence of the sites, Bibilal tried to interpret the Mahabharata and Ramayana phase archaeologically. Also, he produced some C14 dates out of the excavation, and he put both of these phases one after another in between 1200 to 600 BCE archaeologically, if we believe that, because there are several debates regarding the dating of Ramayana and Mahabharata. If considering the literature, they were rewriting several times. I just personally keep those things aside. I am focusing on the archaeological data, and that shows that these two phases, initially it was Mahabharata, then Ramayana. It is also another controversy. So he put first Mahabharata and then Ramayana, and in between 1200 to 600 BCE. And if we correlate Bhagavad Gita with Mahabharata, then Bhagavad Gita is the source of the Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and the first time intellectual form of yoga was discussed in Bhagavad Gita. So it is also a very important aspect. The peace of mind, the wisdom, the karma. These are the important aspects of yogic practice. Now we are in 600 BC, the second urbanization. The states were like started, the big states were started forming. During this phase, we have some evidence of religious reform in India in form of Buddhist and Jain religion. So their philosophies are little, their ideology is little bit different, like the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path in Buddhism. I'm not going in detail because you all know that. मैंने डिटेल उस पर बात की जो मे बी जिसमें नॉलेज मे बी योग के पीपल को जरा सा लैक करे. आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू गिव डिटेल इन दिस थिंग्स बिकॉज आप ऑलरेडी जानते हो. सो फोर नोबल ट्रूथ, द एट फोल्ड पाथ, द थ्री रत्न ऑफ जैनिज्म, द five doctrines of Jainism, all of these things are talking about somehow the purification of soul. Who am I? How can I can end the suffering? About self knowledge. So ये सब के बारे में they are focusing, and their common practice was meditation. Now in this phase onwards, we can see the focal point, the main yogic posture we can see during this phase is the samadhi mudra, the meditation pose. So we have also this kind of archaeological remains in the form of sculptures. This one is the भले ही these sculptures belong to later phase, मैं शुंग तक की बात करूंगी, but these sculptures, because initially in Buddhist religion there were Himalayan tradition and they were worshipping the symbols of Buddha, so that is why up to Shunga period we don't have any evidence of the Buddhist sculpture. But later on, from Kushan period onwards, we have evidence of the Buddhist sculptures. That is why I have to pick the sculptures of the later phase. So this one is the Dharma Chakra Pravartan Mudra, meditation pose of Buddha from Sarnath. This one is Abhay Mudra, meditation pose of Buddha from Ajanta. This one is the victory over the temptation of Mad from Ajanta cave. And this painting is also important. It is a higher level of meditation, because during meditation there were several type of destruction was happening for Buddha, but he just ignoring those and keep meditating. So and afterwards he attained the Bodhi. So this is an important element of yoga itself. It needs the proper concentration, which we can see here as well. And this is Jain tradition. This is Shravan Belgol and also Jain sculpture, Mahavir Jain sculpture. And we all, during this, when these things were happening, like Buddhism and Jainism was flourished, the Mauryan phase we can see. Historically, we can see this is the Mauryan phase. The three Mauryan kings, main important three Mauryan kings, the Chandragupta Maurya, Bindusar, and Ashok. Chandragupta Maurya was a Jain. Bindusar was a follower of Ajivik tradition, and Ashoka, we all know he was a follower of Buddhism. And these caves, now why the caves are so important? These caves were started building. This is Lomas Rishi cave. These two images, which situated in Bihar, Bara caves, and this is the Bhaja cave from Maharashtra. This is Ajanta. This is Ellora Jain cave. So these caves, why these caves are important? Because now we can see the tradition of cutting rocks, cutting hills, and converted it into a cave and donating it to the monks and nuns of different such traditions, because of they needed such shelters during rainy days, and also these caves provide them a peaceful space to meditate. So meditation कितना important हो गया था कि कंस्ट्रक्शन भी हमें उस तरीके से दिख रहे हैं उस समय. Now talking about Ashok. Through Ashok has several inscriptions, several rock edicts, and through rock edict, you all know that Ashok has a different ideological concept which he propounded through his Dhamma. Through Dhamma, he said, "Apasi nave bahu kahane daya dane sache soche yahi Dhamma." Means Apasi nave means maximum you helped others अपासी नावे बहु कहाने. बहु कहाने means बहु के कल्याण करो, मतलब do great things, welfares for others. दया दाने, दया, do mercy, donate. Sache, soche. Sache means be truthful. Soche means be thoughtful. And all of these are like Dhamma. Nothing else, but all of these are Dhamma. So now you can see a kind of mental purification, shaping of a personality. These are also a part of yoga. You can connect them with yoga as well. So these things we can see in Ashoka's Dhamma. Now we reach to the Shunga period, which is after modern period. And during Shunga period, we can see the revival of Brahmanism through mostly the focus is on Bhagavatism. How I can say that? Because this rocket, this inscription, the Heliodorus base Nagar inscription, gives an important information regarding that time period. The entire state of the area of the Shunga king Pushyamitra Shunga was focusing on Bhagavatism, and that is also a form of Brahmanism. And we all know that mostly from Ayodhya inscription, we can say that Pushyamitra Shunga performed Ashwamedh Yagya, Rajashya Yagya, and those yagyas, the chief priest of those yagyas was Patanjali. So the Maharshi Patanjali probably was like contemporary to Pushyamitra Shunga, means around 200 BCE to 75-73 BC, in between, sometime in between that. And he first time methodically, systematically, with a proper guidelines, wrote the Yoga Sutra, where we can see the elaborate description of yoga. मुझे इसके बारे में बहुत knowledge नहीं है. You all have that knowledge. I also want to listen sometime to sir कि मुझे भी interest है योग के बारे में डिटेल जानने का. I don't have that knowledge. So anyway, through the here my presentation is going to end, but as a concluding remark, here I put this slide once again, that all of these phases I have covered through the presentation, through the talk. And finally, to conclude the talk, I wish to say that yoga is not only just a thing to practice for mental or physical fitness, for well-being of ours. It is also an ideology, cultural heritage, which initiated in very past through different stages of physical and mental development. It comes through it like क्या बोले उसको कि वो flow होते हुए it comes to us in a form of yoga. So we need to protect it, and we need to carry on, and we need to transfer this knowledge to our next generation, because it is a cultural heritage. Because heritage is like the thing which can be seen in a form of monument, or in a form of sculpture, or in a form of any material remains or literature. It is an ideology as well, and maybe that is why UNESCO also consider yoga as a cultural heritage, one of the cultural heritage of the world. So thank you so much. Now I'm going to end it.
Thank you, Dr. Gargi. It was really very well studied and presented. So thank you very much. We'll meet some other time to explore your dimensions, how we can correlate our history and contribute for the a mind-body practice like yoga. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for such an engaging session. Thank you, sir, for taking time from your busy schedule for this session. So now we can conclude this session with this mark that it was an interesting and challenging attempt of ma'am to break down the disciplinary boundaries and discuss this with creativity and innovation. So we will conclude the session with Shanti part. Om Shanti Shanti. Shanti. Thank you, ma'am. It was wonderful to have you today.
थैंक यू सो मच इन बिटवीन मेरा थोड़ा ये बंद हो गया था शायद वीडियो सो मेरा फोन पे एक कॉल आ गया था एंड आई कट द कॉल एंड द वीडियो ऑटोमेटिकली paused and stopped
Okay.
and I realized that after I completed the entire talk and sorry for that and there is a
That's
problem
okay,
in my PC I guess
That's
and it's very I'm very glad to have you people and बहुत अच्छा लगा interaction करके because the interdisciplinary thing जो है वो हमारे नॉलेज को और ज्यादा बढ़ाता है एंड आई एम लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड फॉर सच अपॉर्चुनिटीज इन फ्यूचर एज वेल और ये भी मैं आपके योग से रिलेटेड लेक्चर्स को सुनना भी चाहती हूँ तो सुमन को मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कभी अगर ऐसा योग के बारे में हो तो मुझे
बिल्कुल।
गार्गी ऐसे करे आप 2 क्रेडिट या 4 क्रेडिट का यूर एकेडमिशियन है 2 क्रेडिट या 4 क्रेडिट का एक प्रोग्राम बनाए एंड however from the stone age whatever you did because it's a 1 hour lecture you can make at least 2 credits now in the new NPA so
Yes.
we can include it as a optional subject and which will explore even in our Karnataka University where I worked I use the anthropology physical anthropology